Good evening and welcome to The Clash. I'm Adhidas Gopalakrishnan. This is my colleague and co-anchor Athar Khan. Today the issue that we are going to be debating, the Supreme Court blowing to smithereens the allegations that opposition parties, particularly the Congress and Rahul Gandhi, had levelled on the government as far as Rafale is concerned. Not only did the Supreme Court say that it will not go into the issue of pricing, which in fact questions were being raised repeatedly by the opposition parties because clearly they didn't find any merit in it. They said that all of those petitioners weren't even able to argue their case well. Also, the fact that the court will only be looking at the entire file and details of the decision making goes to show that whatever bogey was being raised by opposition parties stands completely exposed. Their allegations against the Prime Minister, even calling him chor, now stand exposed. They should apologize to the government for making those allegations.
Examine with a cool head what the Supreme Court has done today. They have asked for the decision-making details of the entire Rafale deal to further satisfy themselves. That is the exact wording from what the Supreme Court says today. They have refused to intervene at this stage. This is not by any stretch of the imagination a victory for the NDA. Why is Nirmala Sitharaman, the Defence Minister, going to France today? Even as we speak, ladies and gentlemen, there is breaking news about another document by another French media website, Mediapart, which we will refer to during the course of the clash. But there is no smoke without fire, and the Supreme Court asking for the papers is indication enough that they are not satisfied with the kosher nature of the deal yet. More arguments to follow on The Clash. But time now, Madhav, for the question tonight.
And this is the question that we are asking: was Rahul's Rafale attack a Jumla? Remember what Rahul Gandhi repeatedly referred to the Prime Minister as, repeatedly saying that Chaukidar chor hai. Shouldn't Rahul Gandhi, given the fact that Supreme Court has refused to go into this issue, now perhaps come out and apologize? Doesn't he stand exposed for those allegations that he repeatedly made? Because the Supreme Court has come out and said that the key issue that Rahul Gandhi was raising, that of the price. Remember that the core of the alleged Rafale scam is the fact that the price that was negotiated in the UPA era and during the NDA era, that there was a difference, and an inexplicable difference at that was being repeatedly alleged. The Supreme Court has come out and unequivocally said that there is no merit in these petitions, that the petitioners have not been able to argue their points clearly, and last but not the least, they have not even issued a notice to the centre. That is a big endorsement of the centre stand on this issue.
The Supreme Court wants to examine the files, or more specifically, the Supreme Court has asked for the decision-making details to further satisfy themselves. Why would they ever do that if they were completely satisfied with the kosher nature, as the government claims, of this deal? There is never any smoke without fire, and all the objections raised by the Congress party and other opposition parties are valid at some point, crony capitalism included. And as we speak today, ladies and gentlemen, on the website which had published Francois Hollande's bombshell revelations have come out with yet another investigative report, and they are saying, and I'm going to quote them right now, that the first stone was placed on a pre-cut turf under a capital of circumstance in Nagpur for the construction of the future factory. According to an internal DASO document that they're quoting, a senior member of the aviation group had explained to the staff representatives that the venture was counterpart, imperative and mandatory to win the Rafale market. Need I say more?
The whole matter seems to be at a procedural stage. Supreme Court has not yet taken a substantive view. It's too early for us to make a comment.
Demand is very separate from those who are seeking this PIL and investigation through a PIL. We seek a more broad-based investigation through a JPC, and if people know their constitution well, they would understand that a JPC is more broad-based. They have more authority, more power to seek documents, ask for documents, and do this in entire secrecy before the report is made public.
Joining us tonight on The Clash, Sudesh Verma, BJP, Neha Joshi, political analyst on that side, Anup Chaudhary on this side, along with Ashutosh Mishra. Madhav, you get first shot.
isn't it very clear that this is a massive setback, Mr. Anup Chaudhary, for the opposition parties? None of their demands have been accepted by the Supreme Court.
No, my goodness, it's at a very nascent stage. Please, at the moment, the Supreme Court has very clearly said there is no decision given, no categorical judgment has come in or something like that. It's just at a very nascent stage. At this stage, the Supreme Court said we are not going into any pricing of this issue. We would like to know the decision-making process, whether the entire decision-making process should be brought before us, and we'd like to examine that. When the Attorney General very vehemently argued to say that all these petitions are political, the court said we would like to be satisfied. So obviously, if you say from that point of view, the Attorney General's argument that all these petitions should be dismissed as being political was not accepted by the Supreme Court. So therefore, it's too early a stage to say that the Supreme Court has categorically decided a victory of A and a defeat of B.
Okay. Time is up. I want to go straight across to Sudesh Verma here. Premature celebration perhaps, calling the opposition completely empty, even though the Supreme Court has said that the plea in question that was thrown out might have had political implications, or they will use the word averments, I believe. But that does not negate the possibility of contravention of rules. Look at the same day, media part has come out with these details. Are you celebrating prematurely? Is the Rafale ghost over?
It's not a question, sir. We know the truth. So, we are waiting for the court to give its opinion. Court has said it wants to have a process of decision making, because defense procurement process is a complicated process. That too, they have asked a sealed envelope. They have said we would not get into pricing and suitability of the aircraft, and they have said that the argument made by the petitioners are not sufficient. These are things the court said. Now coming to the brass tacks, we know that there is not an iota of truth in this. What you are quoting, the news has come after the Indian court has taken a stand. I am not saying it has given a final stand. We will have to see the authenticity of that, but that doesn't concern the government, either the French government or the Indian government. Rahul Gandhi's first argument has fallen flat, that there could be corruption because there is no middleman. It's a deal between two sovereign countries. Coming to the offset, give me time, I'll
fair enough.
Okay. Let me take off on the issue of pricing. If Rahul Gandhi repeatedly raised the issue of pricing, Ashutosh, you know that in Parliament, outside, calling the Prime Minister chore, all sorts of numbers. In fact, the prices that he quoted were also different, but let that be. The basic crux of the argument is that there is a scam because there is difference in the pricing. Today, the court has come out and said that is not, they don't need to examine that at all.
But what has the court said? That it wants to check the integrity of the process of decision making. Who took the decision? The Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi. Accusations have been made against him in Parliament. He hasn't cared to reply. All the spokespersons, including the Defence Minister, are giving the replies in TV debates or at places where what they say, they cannot be legally taken up for accountable for that, for misrepresentation and lying. And the fact that the Supreme Court is taking notice of it and has not thrown out the petition shows that it has smelled a rat. And wait, this pricing will come up later. But it has cast a shadow on integrity of Mr. Modi. Dal mein kuch kala hai, it's sure.
Okay, fair enough. Let me go straight across to Neha Joshi now. I'm not saying that the Supreme Court, and he's absolutely right, by the way, Sudesh Verma is absolutely right, the Supreme Court has refused to go into the pricing matter at this stage. But why do they want all the details if they think everything is above board, everything is kosher? And now this bombshell that suggests, at least, this is the same website, by the way, which published Hollande's bombshell, I mentioned that, and they say we have more documents coming, more internal memos coming. He said, Dal mein kuch kala hai. I would not put it that way, but is this a premature victory? Rafale is not over.
Well, if you ask me, I think Congress's stand on the Rafale issue right from the beginning has been that noise prevails over facts. You know, they've come up with shoddy arguments that didn't create any buy-in from the public. They wanted CAG, they wanted CVC to step in, and SC today has, in unequivocal terms, rejected the arguments presented by the Congress, the 2 PIL. And in fact, what made Tehseen Poonawalla drop that PIL? I want to question that. What was the reason for him to back out? Did he realize that there was no weight to the PIL that he was standing in there for? And first and foremost, there has to be sufficient proof in order to prove that there was any wrongdoing. And I think the country in general has rejected that narrative, and I think, you know, popular opinion will tell you that. that has been rejected. Rahul Gandhi says a lot of things. Let me just say that as a young person representing, the youth of the country, Rahul Gandhi says a lot of things not to be taken seriously, and that's what I'm going to say.
Your time's up, but I want to bring that question in straight. And Anupja Chaudhary, you can answer this. This is what the Supreme Court has said today. Just 2 lines I'm quoting here. We make it clear that the court isn't taking into account arguments made by the petitioner. Their arguments are grossly inadequate. This is specifically what the Supreme Court has said.
The reflection of the lawyers who are arguing. There's a reflection on the lawyers
who
also
argue it's the strength of the case that they are arguing.
Who are they?
The facts of the case are weak.
Who is the lawyer, Mr. M.L. Sharma? Everybody knows the capacity of these lawyers. This is only a reflection and a comment on the competence of the lawyers who are arguing there. That's a different issue.
Congress should have got its act together. They couldn't have got better lawyers than this. Is that going to be the argument?
No, by now the Supreme Court should have dismissed the petition.
Some of the best legal minds are in the Congress party.
Why did the Supreme Court not dismiss the petition?
Can I jump in here and say exactly what the Supreme Court said? Because
the Attorney General was very vehement. Political. That means if you say that way,
Mr. Chaudhary, can I just quote with your permission,
Supreme Court did not agree with the Attorney General that these are politically
that's number one. With his permission, I would like to quote what the Supreme Court said, so I put it in context for the viewers before you answer. They said, and I quote them now, we want to satisfy ourselves on the steps taken in the decision making. Number one, we are not going into the suitability keeping in mind the sensitivity of the issue. The Supreme Court is also part of the country. They understand how important this is and how sensitive this is. Let me put it to you that way, sir.
That is why Rahul Gandhi doesn't understand that. Supreme Court clearly says that and I don't agree with my lawyer colleague. You see, any petition is filed in the Supreme Court. My understanding is that the court studies it. Argument is only a substitute, an addition to that. And if there is merit, otherwise the best of lawyers would always win, and the cases would have no merit. Only the lawyers would win. The judges are extremely sensitive people. They understand the merit of the case, and they have rightly said that the arguments are not sufficient. Let it come, but prima facie, you see what Priya was saying, that Tahsin withdrew it because Tahsin is known to be close to the Congress. He is known to represent the Congress voice. So then it would have fallen flat, an argument for the Congress. So that is the reason he is withdrawn. But coming to the brass tag I was talking about in the argument, the first instance when you gave me, you see, first thing, there is no corruption. It is between two sovereign countries.
But is it a fundamental point,
second thing is about
offset. Is it a fundamental point?
Okay.
Second thing is about
offset. They've asked for papers.
No. Can I clarify what offset?
Does that negate the possibility of any sort of non-kosher activity? What does the website claim?
Athar, I can tell you the Congress is going to be in deep trouble because Rafale deep is above board. Is above board.
Repeatedly saying where is the corruption, says there is no middleman.
Yeah, please tell
the
me.
middleman here is Shri Narendra Modi. And the corruption comes in. The corruption comes in. The corruption comes in when there is a private sector player who has no experience, and just now it has been exposed that the whole drama that took place in Nagpur, so that he could get the
this is according to the French website.
They have to be proved.
It's just a story published by a foreign agency.
Can I answer? Or disproved. And just to say that because a person is has raised a question that he doesn't know anything, etc., etc.
Okay,
Mr. Ashutosh, you are coming as a free individual, but you represent the voice of the Congress. You have been supporting the Congress. So whatever you are saying is going against the Congress, because you are saying no, you represent it. Don't tell me what to respond. Otherwise, what is the local state? What is the local state here? You are saying that the Prime Minister is not in control. You are saying that the Prime Minister of the country is a dalal. Is this the language you are going to use? No individual person will use that. No.
You have to move on.
No, you have to move on.
Otherwise,
you see, I take a strong exception to it. Please don't use such language. Then use a civilized debate.
Now, I have a question. We'll come to the offset. I have a direct question for you, Ashutosh Mishra. Ashutosh Mishra, if you said dal mein kuch kala hai, what is the first thing that the Supreme Court does day on day? It issues notice to the centre. In this case, it has said we are not issuing notice to the government. Why did they do that?
Mr. Chaudhary has said this earlier also, and I have also said it. If there was nothing wrong, then the Supreme Court would have thrown out the
Okay, I would here to
the
come.
very
I'll come
fact
to the
that
offset
it wants to look into the integrity of the process means that the person who took that decision, his integrity is also under, that is being questioned.
Do you buy this argument?
I'm going to, no, and I'm going to go back back to UPA. I'm going to go back to UPA, and I'm going to go back to the overcautious defense minister and a prime minister who clearly had no say in the governance process. And what do you get? You get a government that dragged its feet on a matter of national security. I mean, the discussion started in 2007. In 2011, we were still talking about the price of the planes. The negotiations started, and what do we get in 2014? Narendra Modi's government inherits a deadlock. A deadlock they were able to effectively resolve by taking a decision, by putting their foot down and saying, we need these jets. The Indian Air Force needs these jets. We can't put our country's defense, at the cost of, a few million rupees. And also, we negotiated a deal that is better in terms of the terms of the deal, in terms of the number of aircrafts that we are buying, and also in terms of the delivery. I mean, the kind of
allegations about who benefited. That's the thread we can't pull at.
Athar, I think the process in itself, in the past 1 month, as we see, the process has been sort of open to scrutiny. There's been a lot of transparency. The defense minister is openly talking about it. And in fact, there was this question of, I still remember yesterday, very eminent journalist asked the defense minister about an officer dissenting on this, and she very categorically answered that difference in opinion does not mean dissent.
How do you explain the internal aviation, as the website is claiming, were told it was imperative, counterpart and mandatory to win the Rafale market? I'm quoting the website.
Exactly, and I'm going to reserve my comments on that, because this is something that I just got to know, and I know a couple of people have tweeted about this.
All of us saw it.
Yes, and I'm going to read more about that. But again, at this point, it's just conjecture. It's one person's word against the other, and that's not how the country is run. The country is run on facts and figures and arguments.
Something about the corruption part. Under the Prevention of Corruption Act, even a third person who gets undue benefit out of an action by negligence also, overtly or covertly supporting him, even not supporting him, that also comes under the definition of corruption under Section 13(1)(d) of the Prevention of Corruption Act. So it's not a question of there was no middleman. Question is, if I'm not saying what is this here, we don't know, because there is nothing clear as such. They only, at the moment, there are allegations. Allegations are that we suffered a loss, the government of India suffered a tremendous amount of loss because of this. Secondly, the allegation is, why was Ambani singled out? Okay. That is the question. Why not others had a chance?
Okay, please kindly hear me out. You see, Ambani is not the only one offset partners. There are many. You must know that under the defense procurement process, 2,000 crore and above, all deal, there is 30% offset clause. This was an exceptional deal in which the Prime Minister negotiated 50% offset, which means that 50% of foreign exchange will come back. How it will come back? If you are buying 36, if you are buying 36 off-the-shelf fighter aircraft, in which there is not going to be any ancillarization in India, how does the offset come about? Offset come about through various other means, like communication, like other related issues. The aircraft has nothing to do with it. The whole impression which is being created about Hall is that it was not going to be manufactured in India. We got 2 squadrons, 36 aircraft. That must be very clear. Off the shelf, fighter aircraft.
We have to close now. We have a quick response. Ashutosh or Anup, you could take it, or we can go to Neha, because I have a question.
Ashutosh, quick response. Finish it off.
What I would like to say, that he keeps talking about offset coming to India. Why didn't it come 50%. To HL? Why didn't it come to HL? And why is the government and its officials continuously trying to run down HAL, and in the process disclosing
it?
No,
we are not running it down, but the lack of experience, what Olan says, what media part says, and what Olan has not retracted. He has said we were given no choice.
I am going to go back to and throw it back at the Congress party by questioning that why was it taking so long? Was there somebody benefiting from that dragging? Was there some deal happening behind the scenes which the country wasn't party to?
So you answer the question with a question, but you won't answer.
Also in terms of HAL, I'd like to make that point. I would like to make that point.
No more.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're out of time. Okay.
Completely out of time. We must thank Neha Joshi, Sudesh Verma, Ashutosh Mishra, as well as Anup Chaudhary from Madhav Das Gopalakrishnan and I, Athar Khan. Thank you for watching.
Join us again tomorrow night.